So what does digital marketing look like for a small business, and where are you supposed to start? So usually a lot of small business owners get tripped up by the fact that there are so many options, they don't know where to start. It seems like a ton of content to keep up, and it can be super overwhelming. So I hear that, but I'm going to walk you through it slowly over the next several weeks, and it might even take months. But if you keep up, you're going to have a really strong grasp of what is digital marketing. I'm going to support you if you want to do it yourself. But even if you don't want to do it yourself, what's really nice about understanding digital marketing is that you'll know what you need. And so then it's not going to be like someone who just takes their car to the mechanic and has no idea what the mechanic is doing, if they're ripping them off, if they really need the work done in the first place. If you understand what needs to happen in your digital marketing, you'll know how to hire the right people to do it and make sure that they're doing what you want. And you're also not going to get tripped up by, say, creating a website that's not going to work for your brand and then having to redo that website. And even worse, getting ripped off by a website that just didn't work for you. So follow along. Fasten your seatbelts. Here we go. So what are the basic elements you need for strong digital marketing? It's a functional website. I'm going to talk about each one of these individually after, but first I want to list it. So number one is a functional website. Number two is content that you're going to keep up on your website on a weekly basis. Number three is social media that's going to point to the content that's on your website to drive traffic to your site. And number four is email marketing. Those are the four elements that you really need to be open for business online. That's like the equivalent of having a sign on the front of your storefront, your brick and mortar business that says open, right? If you don't have a website, you don't have social media, you don't have email marketing, then it's as if you're not really open for business online. Now, you will find exceptions of people who are able to exist and thrive without these elements. But for the most part, the best practice in today's digital world, which is increasingly digital, most people aren't even on a computer, they're on their phones. You're going to need to be where your clients and your customers are, and that is online. Okay, so what is a functional website? It used to just be like a place where you just could slap up, your logo, your name, your address, a contact us element, and that would be enough. But today, a functional website is a lot more than that. You're going to want something that's responsive on mobile. Believe it or not, I still work with people who don't have websites that you can read well on a phone. If you can't read your site on a phone, it's as if it doesn't exist. Okay, you're also going to want to do a search engine optimization audit and optimizing. Now that is a lot of jargon, but here's what that is. The abbreviated name is SEO. That's what most people call it. And it just means that when your customers are looking for you online, they find you. If they know your name, you pop up when they Google you. And if they don't know your name, but they want a service that you're able to provide in an area where you are, you want them to search for you and find you, right? You don't want them to find your competition because they had a better website. So an SEO audit is when you take stock of what's on your site. You make sure that sites like Google can do what's called crawling through it. Make sure that everything's set up properly. And then it's going to make sure that things like when you share a link for something on your website, that the photo is going to come through, and a short line of text that describes what your site does or what your page is about is going to come through. So it's a one-time process that you'll do up front. And there is a cost to it, but it's worthwhile. It's not extremely expensive. And again, it's one time. And then after that, you'll continue to use some best practices with SEO, which I can teach you later, in order to make sure that your content continues to perform well on your website. So you want a website that exists, that's not too old. If you haven't redone it in 3 to 4 years, you really should consider doing it again. it doesn't have to be super complicated unless you have like a business where you're selling a lot of products. But if you have a basic business, especially a service business, it doesn't have to be that complex. You're going to want it to be responsive on mobile so that it looks nice on a phone. And you're going to want SEO done and so that people can find you. Okay, so that's number one, that's a website. Once your website is up, you are not done. It is a working asset of your business. You're going to want to have content once a week that you are consistently creating and putting up on your website. I'm going to talk to you in the future about how to develop that content, how to come up with it, and how to stay consistent about posting it. But your content can be whatever makes you comfortable. So if you're someone who likes to talk a lot, like me, you could do a video, you could do a podcast, you could do a blog. Okay, if you're starting from scratch, I would choose one. In the future, there are a lot of ways to recycle content that you're already creating and put it out in different spaces. But for now, you're just going to want to do one. And you're going to want to show up every week and put that content on your site. What you create should be based on what works for you, what's going to be easiest for you, but also where your target audience lives. So if you're targeting young men, teens through 20s, even 30s, you really might want to consider video because these guys are typically on YouTube the most. So you could have content on YouTube and then you can embed it on your site. Okay, that's just one example. Okay, so you've got your website and now you've got your content. Now your third element for a robust digital marketing existence in 2020 is going to be social media. You need to be on social media. You don't have to be doing an incredible job on every channel, but you need to exist on the channels where your target market is. That is the public square of today. That is where people are hanging out. They're having conversations. They're looking for business and suggestions, and you've got to be there in order to join the conversation. So pick the channel where you're comfortable and where you think your target market is. If you've got middle-aged women, Facebook. If you've got business leaders, LinkedIn. If you've got younger women and moms, you're going to do Instagram. Now, those are generalizations. Other markets are in those places as well, but I'm just giving you a quick synopsis, and we're going to talk about that later too. But you've got to be on social media, and you've got to post regularly. This is where you're going to share the content you're creating on your website, and this is where you're going to tell your brand story. Is it funny? Is it serious? Is it informative? Are you giving education? You want to talk to people in a social way about your brand. And the last element you need for digital marketing is email marketing. Now, you might think that email marketing is dead, but believe it or not, the statistics on the return on investment for email marketing is actually quite high. And in many businesses, it's even higher than the return on investment in social media. So the content that you create on your website and on your social media, you're going to send out periodically on email. Now, people typically don't want your email newsletter, but they're still happy to hear from you if you're creating great content in email. And we're going to talk about that later as well. So stay tuned. Those are the 4 elements you're going to need to exist as a business online today. And again, that's a robust website that is functioning. That is content that's weekly going to go up on your site. That's social media, and that's email marketing. Okay, so I hope that helps. Tune in on Facebook if you want to talk about this live. You can ask your Q's and A's on there, and I will answer in real time. You can also ask me questions in the comments or join our Sparks of Marketing Facebook group. I'll put the link below this video. You can join there and ask questions. Okay, talk to you later. Bye.